This conference will now be recorded.
Hello, all, welcome back. So today we are going to start Linux session. Okay, so Linux basics. So today we discuss about theoretical part. So tomorrow we'll work on some commands. So basic commands tomorrow we'll work on, and day after tomorrow we'll work on some deployment commands, advanced commands. Able to see my screen, everyone?
Yes, sir.
So in this session, we'll try to understand, so what is Linux, what is operating system, types of operating systems, history of Linux, Linux origins, why Linux, why the companies are looking for Linux environment. Okay, why they, yeah. So backend servers always, so project teams will configure Linux only. So why they are looking for Linux and architecture of Linux, advantage, disadvantage of Linux. Okay, Linux versus Windows, Linux file system hierarchy, basic commands, advanced commands, deployment commands, we'll see tomorrow. Okay, so up to here we can cover today. Fine. Basically, what is Linux? Linux and ఏంటండి? So can anyone tell that? What is Linux? So Linux is an operating system. So it is a Unix-like operating system, right? So what is operating system? So let us go one by one. It can run on, it is a Unix-like operating system. It can run on 32-bit and 64-bit hardware, right? So any hardware it will run, 32-bit, whether 32-bit or 64-bit hardware. Okay, and Linux OS is freely distributable cross-platform. Okay, and supports multiple processors. Okay, so any type of processor, any type of hardware, it will support. So earlier we used to use P2 systems, P3 systems, and P1 systems. Before that, Cyrix systems, i386 systems. So different hardware. Okay, so it will support any type of processors. Supports multiple processors. And a true multitasking, multi-user operating system. Okay, fine. So basically, what is the operating system? So operating system is an interface between user and the computer hardware, right? So normally, when you want to access your system, your laptop, okay, we require one interface. You can access through the interface, which is operating system. The hardware of the computer cannot understand the human readable language, right? So as it works on binaries, zeros and ones. So what is binaries? Binary language: 001, 010, 101, 111, 100, or 000. These are the binary language. So computer hardware will understand only binary language. Okay. So in such case, we need some interface. So human will not understand binary language, but the hardware will understand only binary language. So to convert that, we required some operating environment. In such case, we required some interface which can translate human language to hardware and vice versa. Okay, human cannot understand binary language, and computer hardware cannot understand human readable language, for which we require one interface which can translate human language to hardware and vice versa for effective communication. Got it right? What is operating system? Next. So types of operating system. Single user, single tasking operating system. Single user, single tasking operating system. So in this type of operating system, only one user can log into the system and he can perform only one task at a time. Single user, single tasking means only one user can log into the system and can perform one task at a time. So for example, this is MS-DOS, Microsoft DOS. Okay, in DOS operating environment, only one user can log into the system and he can perform only one task at a time. Next one is single user multitasking operating system. What is this? Single user multitasking means, so this type of operating system supports only one user can log into the system, but he can perform multiple tasks at a time. Okay, so for example, while browsing the internet, so background we can run the sounds, audios, right? So for example, it is Windows. So in Windows, single user can log into the system and he can run multiple tasks at a time. While working on any activity, we can run background music, right? That is single user multitasking operating system. Next one is multi-user multitasking operating system. So this type of operating system supports, okay, multiple users can log into the system and also can perform multiple tasks at a time. So this is Linux, for example, Linux. So for example, normally in real-time environments, what we will do, so some deployment is going on, some code deployment is going on. So by the time DevOps engineers will log into the system, Linux systems, and testers will log into the system, developers will log into the system, build and release engineers also, they log into the Linux servers. And everyone will do their activities, their own activities. Okay. So in Linux, multiple users can log in at a time and they can perform multiple activities at a time. So normally, also one more example. So while working on patching activity, so monthly patching. So normally what we will do, so cloud engineers operating, server admins will log into the systems and they perform, okay, patching activity. By the time application team will involve, application team will log into the systems and they will stop the applications. Testers will test the applications. So multiple users can log into the system at a time. They can perform multiple tasks at a time. That is nothing but multi-user multitasking operating system. Any questions up to here? Clear, right? Next one. History of Linux operating system. Okay. So he's Mr. Linus Torvalds, okay, who invented Linux kernel, who developed Linux kernel. Okay. Yeah. So in April 1991, Linus Torvalds, a 21 years old student at the University of Helsinki, Finland, started working on the simple ideas for an operating system. Right? He started researching on the operating system. By September 1991, Linux version 0.01 was released on the FTP server of the Finnish University and research network. It had 10,239 lines of code for this first release. 10,239 lines of code he developed. Okay, so the X Windows system was soon ported to Linux in March 1992. Linux version 0.95 was the first to be capable of running X. Okay, the first capable operating environment released on 1992 March. So after 1991, there was several commercial implementations happened in Linux. So those are different commercial implementations after 1991. So yeah, once it is released, first release, so Apple developed their own release. So commercial implementation means every company, they took this kernel and they developed their own versions. So Linux kernel, every company, so like Apple, Solaris, so many companies, they took this kernel and they developed their own flavors. Right? Apple computers they developed as AUX, okay, and AT&T systems, AT&T developed system we release 3. So the same kernel, different companies use and they release their own flavors, okay. And Hewlett Packard's HP developed HP Unix, and IBM developed AIX. So Linux developed real-time Unix. Next step. So Santa Cruz Operations, SCO Unix. So Silicon Graphics developed IRIX. Sun Microsystems developed Sun OS, Sun Solaris. So like this, so many companies, so they took their the kernel of Linux, they developed their own flavors. Okay, after 1991, there were several commercial implementations of Linux released. And so features of Linux operating system. So portable. So this is the first feature. Okay. So portable is the first feature. So portability means softwares can works on different types of hardwares in same way. So Linux kernel and application program supports their installation of any kind of hardware platform. So portability, here we can talk about portability. So next one is open source. Linux source code is freely available and it is community based development project. Okay, multiple teams works on collaboration to enhance the capability of Linux operating system, and it is continuously evolving. Means, so whenever this Linux kernel released, okay, every company took that kernel, so they developed their own flavors in their as per their requirements, as per their project requirements. Okay. So next one is multi-user. So we discussed already. Multi-user. Linux is a multi-user system, means multiple users can access system resources like memory, RAM, application, programs at same time. So at a time they can log in, multiple users can log in and they can use the resources. Next one is multi-programming. What is this? Linux is a multi-programming system, means multiple applications can run at same time. So yeah. So hierarchical file system. What is this? Linux provides a standard file structure in which system files, user files are arranged. Okay. So file system hierarchy. So different file systems are available. That hierarchy, so we'll see in further slides. Okay. Next, shell. So Linux provides a special interpreter program which can be used to execute commands of the operating system. It can be used to do various types of operations, so call application programs, etc. Okay. Security. So Linux provides user security, so using authentication features like password protection, controlled access to specific files, encryption of data. So when we talk about security, so Linux is more secure compared with Windows, right? So normally, so when any virus threats happen, when any virus threat released in environments, first it will attack to Windows servers, right? First it will affect to Windows servers. So after that, so Linux environment, so it is very minimal. So Linux threats, virus threats, malwares, okay. So this will affect to Linux machines very less. compare with Windows. Only 2% chances. Okay, but whereas Windows, so if you don't have proper antivirus, if you don't have proper updates, patches, automatically affect to Windows systems. But whereas Linux is having very good security. Okay, Linux systems will not affect normally. Fine. So next one is architecture of Linux. So in architecture of Linux, so here we have first one is hardware. First component is hardware. So normally, so in the hardware, so we have processing, memory. Okay, so we have different processing hardware and storage. Different things are available. So on top of that, we have kernel. We have kernel. So kernel is nothing but what is kernel? What is kernel? So kernel is core component of Linux. Kernel is part of the operating system, right? So it interacts with the hardware and most of the tasks like memory management, task scheduling, and file management, right? So kernel is the heart of the Linux systems, Linux servers, Linux machines. Okay, it will interact with the hardware and most of the tasks like memory management, task scheduling, and file management, right? Next one is shell. Next component is shell. What is shell? The shell is the utility that process your request. Okay, so when you type in a command at your terminal, the shell interacts the command and calls the program that you want, right? Yeah, next one is application program. So these are the layers, okay, architecture of Linux: hardware, kernel, shell, application programs. So in shells, we have different commands here: cp, grep, tar, who, sed, sort, ls, shell. Okay, different commands are available. So in application program, different applications we can deploy here. So mail, DBMS, spreadsheets, okay, browser, different application programs we can deploy at the application program. Yeah. So architecture of Linux OS. So Linux system architecture consists of following layers. Okay, what are those? So hardware layer. So hardware consists of all peripheral device, RAM, HDD means hard disk drive, and CPU, etc. Right? So hardware layer, so we'll have all these peripheral components, peripherals. So kernel, core component of operating system, so interacts directly with the hardware, provides low-level services to upper layer components. Next one is shells, and interface to kernel, hiding complexity of kernel functions from users, takes commands from user and executes kernel's functions. Next, utilities. Utility programs giving user most of the functionalities of an operating systems. Right? So Linux versus Microsoft Windows. So let us try to understand here. So what are the difference? What is the difference here? We have. So both offer same of the graphic capabilities and include some networking capabilities, but Linux networking is excellent. So why it is excellent? So when we talk about Linux networking, okay, so it will provide more security. Main thing is security, right? So graphics capabilities means, so Linux is having GUI also. So till now we worked on command line, but Linux is having graphical user interface also, GUI. So like Windows, but that is not user friendly. So Windows is user friendly. So normally in real projects, real-time projects, production environments, we don't use graphical user interface. We always use command line interface, CLI. So in our test labs also, we don't use GUI. We always use CLI. Fine. So next one is Linux is a multi-user, multitasking, but Windows does not support it. So in Linux, so multiple users can log into the system and they can perform multiple tasks at a time. But whereas Windows not like that. Windows will have limited user count. Limited users can log into the system and they can perform limited tasks at a time. But Linux, multiple users can log into the system. They can perform multiple tasks at a time. Okay. Advantages. What are the advantages here? So it's a free and open source. Linux is free and open source. Linux is portable to any hardware platform. So it will support any hardware. It will support wide variety of hardware, right? Linux requires minimal hardware configuration, minimal. So it will support very minimal. Even 1 GB also it will support 1 GB RAM, one virtual CPU. Okay, in old systems, i386, P1 systems, P2 systems, P3 systems, it used to support. Linux continuous work well even when the hard disk is almost full, right? So this will observe in production environments. So normally in Windows system, when the C drive is full, what will happen? In your laptop, for example, your C drive is full. What will happen? Your system will get performance issues, even though Windows servers also same. So when the C drive is full, you will get performance issues. Update will not be installed. Some patches will not be installed. Nothing will be happen when C drive is full. But whereas Linux not like that. So Linux continuous work well even when the hard disk is almost full. So it will work normally. It will not work as usual. So in our production environment, we used to see that. Okay, whenever that disk is full, nothing will be happen with the Linux servers. So whenever we perform any maintenance activities, by that time we'll clean up the disks. So whatever temp files are there, whatever unnecessary files are there, we'll clean up that. But it will work without any issues if the drive is full. So next one is the Linux can run almost forever without any reboots. It's stable. It's a very good feature. So in our environment, in our infrastructure, okay, some Linux servers we haven't reboot since 4 years, 5 years, 6 years also. Last 5 years we haven't reboot some servers, Linux servers. Still they are working fine without any issues. So even if you don't reboot the server, it will work fine, Linux servers. But whereas Windows servers, so Windows, Microsoft will release every month patches. So once you patch that server, once you install the patches, so make sure you need to reboot the server. Otherwise, the server will not work properly. Every month we need to reboot the Windows servers. But whereas Linux servers, we don't need to reboot every month, every year, not like that. Okay. So without any reboots, it will work fine. Next one is Linux operating system does not slow down with time. Means so Linux operating systems, so we don't get any slowdown issues. So some servers, old systems like physical servers we used to observe, but so current versions we haven't seen any slowdown issues. Okay, so Linux operating systems comes with some inbuilt softwares like OpenOffice for Word, PowerPoint, Excel, Firefox. Okay, so these are the things. So inbuilt softwares in operating systems, Linux operating systems. So Linux is one of the most secure operating systems. Yes. So compared with Windows, it is most secure. Security wise, Linux machines are very good. So that is why in production environments, production critical applications, we use Linux only. So in our environment, we have thousands of servers. Okay. So most of the servers are Linux servers. For some applications, we are using Windows, but most of the servers are Linux servers. So the large number of Linux distributions give you a choice. Distributions, we have so many distributions. So Linux operating environment, we have so many distributions like RHCL, CentOS, Ubuntu, SUSE Linux. Okay, so different distributions we have in market. So as per the requirement, as per the project requirement, so project teams will take the distributions, they will install, configure, and they will work on that. Okay. Next one is the Linux OS, and most Linux applications have very short debug time. Yeah, fine. So debugging time is very short time. So compare with Windows, Linux debugging time is very less time. Okay. So in last quarter, last few months before, so we got some issue with the Windows server. Okay. So in that, what happened? So one critical production server is there, Windows server. So the server is taking high CPU utilization. The server was taking high CPU utilization, means 100% CPU utilizing. So due to that, application was getting performance issue. Whenever CPU utilizing 100%, what will happen? Application will not run properly. So by the time we check the operating system side, we could not find any issues, and we check with the vendor, server vendor. So the server is physical server, blade server. Check with the vendor, hardware vendor. They troubleshooted. They concluded like it is not hardware issue, it is the OS issue, operating system issue. So by the time what we did, we raised a case with Microsoft to troubleshoot the operating system. We raised a case with Microsoft. So by the time, so the server was in AMC, not in warranty. Server was in AMC, annual maintenance contract. Okay. So by the time when we raised the case with Microsoft, they started working on that. They started troubleshooting on that. They took 15 days time to troubleshoot that. Microsoft team took 15 days to troubleshoot the issue, and they charge a lot for the troubleshoot. They charge a lot, nearly $4,000. The server cost is $5,000. They charge $4,000, right? So finally they conclude that, so monthly patching, when we install patches, due to one patch, the issue has happened. They simply remove the patch and it was resolved. So when we talk about Windows servers, it's a costly repairs, and debugging time is also very use time they will take. But whereas Linux not like that, very short time. So when you want to troubleshoot Linux systems, it will not take much time. And also there is no costly repairs here. In Linux systems, Linux environments, no costly repairs. Okay. Next one is, if there were widespread Linux virus released today, there would be hundreds of patches released tomorrow. See here, what does it mean? Any viruses released today, okay, hundreds of patches released by Linux tomorrow. Okay, either by, okay, these are not required. Okay, so normally, so any virus threats released today, so Linux will take care and they will release so many patches to fix that issues. But whereas Windows not like that. Windows not quickly release that. Windows not quickly release the fixes. Okay, so they will release monthly patches. So sometimes they will give some fixes, but it will take some time. Okay, yeah, disadvantages. So few disadvantages also there in Linux, which are like, so there is no standard edition of Linux. We don't have any standard edition here. So many flavors, so many versions, so many distributions available, right? And also second disadvantage here is Linux is not very user friendly and confusing for beginners. So beginners will confuse in Linux environment, right? So it is not user friendly, but when we start working on Linux, so we can easily understand. Okay, so Linux is straightforward. When we execute any command, it will work fine. So Linux and when we start working on Linux, so we can learn. It is easy to work. We can manage. Okay, so Linux is straightforward. So in 2013, I switched to DevOps. Before that, I was working as a storage admin, storage and VMware admin. Okay, so I completed certification in 2013, Linux certification. I switched to DevOps. When I started working on Linux environment, I enjoyed a lot. So straightforward, when we execute some command, it will complete, it will work properly. Fine. So these are the disadvantages of Linux. Yeah, next one is the Linux folder structure. So these are the folder structure. So important folder structure, right? Yeah. Fine. So folder structure. So first one here is slash. Slash is the parent directory, home directory. You can say this is a top level directory. So slash is top level directory. So it is a parent directory for all other directories. Slash is parent directory for all other directories. It is called as a root directory. So it is represented by forward slash. So for example, in Windows, so C column Windows directory is there, right? The same way here, so forward slash is the home directory, top level directory, root directory. So next one is root. So root will call it as slash root. So root is the home directory for root user. Slash root is the home directory for root user. Root user means super user. Okay. It provides working environment for root user only. It provides working environment for root user only. So next one is slash home. What is this? It is home directory for other users. Slash root is home directory for root user. Slash home is root user for other users. Root directory for other users. It provides working environment for other users other than root users. Next one is a slash boot. What is this? So it contains bootable files for Linux, like VM Linux, kernel. Okay. So initrd, grub. Grub means Grand Unified Bootloader. So grub. So different things. Okay. Next one is sbin. What is this sbin? It contains commands used by only super user root. Okay. Next one is bin. So what is bin? It contains commands used by all other users. Sbin means super user commands available. Bin means all other users can use this commands. Okay. Next one is slash usr. So by default, whatever softwares we installed, okay, so slash under slash usr, those will be installed directly. Okay. So next one is slash var. Slash var means, so all the variable files will be installed under slash var. It containing variable data like emails, log files, different things are available under /dev. Okay, so next one is /dev. It contains device files. Under /dev, it contains all the device files like /dev/SDA, /dev/CD-ROM. So like this, all the device files will be configured under /dev. Next one is /etc. /etc means it contains all configuration files. /etc contains all configuration files like /etc/password, /etc/resolve.conf, /etc/sudoers. Okay, different files, different configurations. It contains all configuration files are available. Next one is /opt. /opt means it contains optional directory. So optionals, it is the optional directory for user /user. So whatever third-party software is installed, so we have installed some third-party softwares. Those will be installed under /opt. Whatever third-party softwares. /usr means all the system files will be, system softwares will be installed under /usr. /opt means all the third-party softwares will be installed under this /opt. Okay. So next one is /media. So all the media files, media packages will be installed under this. It contains all the removable media, CD-ROM, pen drives, all the removable media files will be available inside of the /media. So these are the folder structures. We have different way. We have another yeah, these are the folder structure. See here, /bin, /sbin, /etc, /dev. So /proc means process information. Okay, /temp means temporary files. Okay, /lib means all libraries are available here. /mnt means mount directory. So /srv means service data. So media means removable devices. Okay, all the files will be available. Yeah, under this folders. So this is another way. /bin, /boot, /dev, /etc, /home, /lib. Okay, so these are the folder structures. Next one is why Linux. So why companies are looking for Linux environment? Why project teams are looking for production server should be under Linux? Why they are preferring? So we'll try to understand. See here. So when we talk about Linux, so it is a free, open source, secure, so many distributions available, fast performance. Okay, so here no virus, no viruses, no malwares, no slowdowns, no crashes, no costly repairs. Okay, so compare with Windows. So these are the things. These are the things available. Yeah. So no viruses we discussed already. So when we compare with Windows, so whenever viruses happen, so Linux systems will not affect with the viruses. No malwares, any threats. Threats means sometimes so hackers will try to hack these missions. So it will not allow to hack the mission. Linux environment will not allow. No slowdown issues. Slowdown issues will not get. Okay. No crashes. So Linux systems, most of the systems will not crash. 99.99% Linux systems will not crash. So some 1% maybe somewhere those will be crashed. Okay. So no costly repairs we discussed already. Okay, I gave you example, right? Windows missions will have costly repairs, but whereas Linux missions will not have any costly repairs. So it is a free, open source, secure, Security wise, very good security we have. So many distributions as per the project requirement, whatever distributions required. So they can use fast performance. Compare with Windows, it is very fast. Okay. So these are the things. Any questions up to here? Anyone? Anyone having any questions? Fine. So now, so I give you some small information here about this Linux environments. So when we start working on the environment, so we need to know some difference here. Linux families. So we have two types of families in Linux. So in Linux, we have two types of families, which are like, so first one is Debian family. So Debian family. And second one is Red Hat family. So two types of families we have in Linux, Debian family and Red Hat family. So in Debian family, what are the flavors are available? So in Debian family, we have different flavors, which are like so Debian family, we have Ubuntu, Fedora, AV Linux, and GRML. So these are the flavors available in Debian family. Okay, so Ubuntu is most popular flavor. So most of the production environments we use Ubuntu. Okay, so next one is, here we have Red Hat family. In a Red Hat family, we have different flavors. So RHCL, Red Hat Enterprise Linux. Second one is SUSE Linux. And next one is CentOS. And next flavor is Amazon Linux. So these are the popular flavors. In Debian family, these are the popular flavors. In a Red Hat family, these are the popular flavors. Okay. So we have so many flavors. Still we have so many flavors, but these are the very popular flavors. So in production environment, so Red Hat family, we use RHCL and CentOS. Most of the production environments we use RHCL, CentOS. In Debian family, we use Ubuntu. In our production servers, we use most of the servers, Ubuntu and RHCL, CentOS. In our sessions also, most of the servers we create Ubuntu, CentOS, Amazon Linux, and RHCL also we create some servers. In DevOps, while working on DevOps, we create different servers. Okay, these are two different families. So when we talk about Debian family, for example, so when we working on Debian family, for example, if you want to deploy any package, so here some difference is there. So while working on commands, some difference is there between these two families, Debian and Red Hat. For example, if you want to install Git on the machine in Debian family, so command here is we use apt-get install Git. This is the command to deploy Git package on Ubuntu server. we use apt-get is the command. But whereas Red Hat family, we use yum command, yum install git. This is the command to deploy git package on Red Hat family. So this is only the difference. Okay. So when we install packages, so some commands will be changed. Some slide commands will be changed between these two families. Okay, nothing more is available, but only difference here is some command difference. So functionality wise, both are same. Ubuntu, RHCL, CentOS, Fedora. Functionality wise, everything is same, but when we working on commands, some slight difference is there, command level. Okay. So tomorrow, what we will do, we'll start working on some basic commands. Tomorrow we'll work on some commands, basic commands. So day after tomorrow, we'll work on deployment commands, advanced commands. Okay. Fine. So any questions, anyone? Up to here, any questions?
Sir, how much knowledge level it's required for Linux in actual industry for DevOps engineer?
Fine. Yeah, DevOps engineer required some 40 commands. That's it. Nearly 40 commands we have. That commands, if you are familiar with the commands, it is enough to you. So nothing more than that. So no need to we are not Linux admins. We are DevOps engineers, right? So we don't require any admin commands. So like configuring disks, like fdisk, like RAID controllers. Okay, we don't require any admin commands. So we require some nearly 40 commands. That commands we discuss. Nearly 40 commands we have. That commands enough to you to work on DevOps projects. Okay.
Okay.
So very simple commands. I'll share with you the document also, commands documents. I'll explain the commands. Each and every command we can execute in Linux machine. So tomorrow we'll create one Linux server. In that we can execute all the commands one by one. I will explain the commands. I'll execute the commands. Fine.
Okay.
Any other questions? Yeah, go ahead.
రియల్ టైమ్ లో ఇప్పుడు ఇష్యూస్ ఓఎస్ ఇష్యూస్ వస్తే ఎవరు చూస్తారు సార్? లైక్ ఇప్పుడు లైనక్స్ లో కెర్నల్ కరప్ట్ అయితే అలాంటి ఇష్యూస్ ఎవరు చూస్తారు?
Yes. So normally when we talk about cloud servers, okay, so we have to take care, but so most of the times we don't face any operating system issues. So because so we will take some snapshots every time. We'll take auto snapshots. We'll take snapshots, Linux missions, right? So if anything happened with the server, automatically we'll revert that snapshot. We don't troubleshoot OS issues. As a DevOps engineer, we don't troubleshoot any OS issues. So connecting issues, if you face any connectivity issues, user issues, that we will troubleshoot. But operating system issues, we don't troubleshoot because we are not OS admins. We are DevOps engineers. So we'll have auto snapshots, we'll revert that. Okay.
Okay.
Fine. So we stop here for today. So tomorrow we'll start working on commands. So those are very, very important. So some basic commands to advanced commands we'll discuss slowly. All the commands will execute one by one. Okay, I'll provide you that sheet also, command sheet. So that is enough to you. That commands is required for DevOps engineer. Okay, so you practice once that commands when we discuss once you complete the commands session. So that is enough to you. Fine. So we stop here for today. Thank you all.
Right. థ్యాంక్ యూ సార్.